Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. I'm doing good.
There was a lot of tension in that game last night, added to the fact that we didn't know if Joe Girardi even survives if they lose. Did you feel like that was part of the storyline, whether it was something that was said or at least thought of during the game last night?
No, I felt, look, I mean, everyone rightfully was talking about game two, and Joe and all of, his desires to put his team in the best situation realized it just wasn't a good day. It wasn't a good game. But getting to game five in and of itself, look, I've been around Joe, and I've seen what the Yankees are and what they do, and this pressure of managing. I thought, and I think he has done a great job under all the circumstances, and I don't think it's even a question now, and nor did I think it was a question coming into game five. It's like when you're managing the Yankees, it's like a regular season game as a starter. No one talks to you. They talk to you after the game, right? Well, in the postseason, they talk to you before, after, during, and it's like doing every game as a postseason press conference because of the atmosphere that obviously comes with managing in New York.
So they move on now. They got the Astros. Handicap this matchup that starts Friday night.
Well, I'm sure if the Astros last night were they're never going to come out and say they were pleased with the opportunity to be a home series, but they were hoping that thing went 17 innings, right? The way the postseason has gone and just the decisions of multiple starters in games, and it's been crazy. I knew going in that the series was going to be awesome as far as the teams that we have are really good. I never thought it would go in the direction that it has, and anticipating moves, I could not have seen half of them. So I know that the managers and getting to the next series is a lot of pressure to do that. I think this series, even whether it was the Indians and the Astros, but now the Yankees, I just like the way that the American League matched up. The star power, the intrigue with bullpens and power pitching and power hitting. You're going to see a lot of home runs in this series, and I don't think that trend is going to change.
All right, I'm going to give you a stat that's going to blow you away because you faced this guy in your career. You have Aaron Judge, who struck out 15 times in this series against the Indians. Tony Gwynn went one season over 500 at-bats, and he struck out 15 times.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit different. And if you would have told me the numbers combined for Judge and Sanchez and the Yankees would move on, I'd say no chance. No chance. But that's exactly what that team effort has been able to do. And what the guy that kind of goes, he's no longer under the radar. Didi Gregorius, and what he's done has been unbelievable in New York. And look, that's why when talking to Joe, he loves his team's grindability. Like they just find ways. Yes, they hit a lot of home runs, swing and miss a lot. But let's face it, the thing that you didn't think was going to happen in this series was that the Yankees were going to have the most innings pitched out of their starters. No chance.
Yeah.
But that's what gave them a chance to come back. Kind of like what the Cubs did last year when they were able to line up their starting pitching and give them some depth. So Tanaka, Severino, and CeCe gave him a chance to come back.
John Smoltz will be calling the ALCS and also the World Series for Fox, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. By the way, the guy who has the most career hits off Smoltz is Tony Gwynn with 30. You knew that, didn't you?
Yeah, I've known that for every time. every time I think about who I don't want to face and just the greatest game, I literally, if I could go back in time, I promise you, I would stand on the mound and tell Tony Gwynn, down the middle, fastball, good luck.
I wanted. Let me talk about Strasburg. What was Strasburg's label, or what is his label as a pitcher? Only because it felt like he was being labeled soft. A guy who had to have everything perfect before he started, even before last night. But was there a reputation, a label of Strasburg?
I'm sure from the outside, and there's so much discussion. Look, I think he's the best pitcher in baseball that is yet to be totally equipped with every aspect of it. Meaning, I think he's got the best four pitches in baseball, right? I mean, the best pitcher in baseball is Kershaw. He's got three of the best pitches. But I think with what Strasburg came onto the scene, you think about his personality is not the same of Kershaw. His personality is not the same as Scherzer. And we sometimes kind of think that everyone should have the same personality and the same structure. So be it that as it is, he's kind of dealt with some really tough beginnings, and those tags won't go away. But today he could probably run for mayor in Washington because that outing was unbelievable and gives the Nationals a chance to win. It's a little unfair from afar to cast what you think should happen until you go inside. Sometimes describing the way some things are could be a little different, if you know what I mean, maybe just not being as honest. And I think that is what Strasburg is and will be in the future. Look, since he came out, I did his first game. I still believe that we're looking at the best pitcher in baseball in the next 5 years.
Can you sick out of a playoff game?
No. And I just, again, how things are reported, who knows, and what really are the circumstances that lead someone to even think like that. But ultimately, it worked out, right? I mean, it worked out in the favor of the Nationals.
But it almost didn't, John. You know, if he doesn't walk in and say, give me the ball, I mean, he's labeled forever.
Yeah, and I think his previous experience was a little bit unfair on how the organization chose to handle it, and then it came down on him 3 or 4 years ago. But the thing that always blows my mind is when circumstances change, everybody thinks every circumstance has to change. But to this point that you're speaking of, if no one would have known anything, it would have been better.
Who do the Dodgers want to face?
I really think it in this case, Dodgers realize, they're at home, so they like that. And everybody who fell off the Dodgers bandwagon when they thought that this was a team that, much like the Indians, went off and racing and they're not the same team, I think they're mistaken. I think that the Dodgers have the best situation going for them and the most pressure, by the way. I know the Nationals have pressure because they haven't won a series. But I'm saying moving forward, if they play the Nationals, it becomes the pressure on the Dodgers because they haven't been to the World Series in over 30 years. So I think they would rather play the Nationals, but that's like choosing, two great teams only because the Cubs and what they went through last year. If you're looking for storylines and who could help take the pressure off of you, it might be the Nationals with all the pressure that both those clubs have been dealing with in the postseason. But I said it, the top 4 teams in each league, and even Arizona. Arizona could have easily. I don't think a lot of people would have been surprised if Arizona gave the Dodgers a better series.
Johnny, get some rest. We'll be watching on Friday night.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's a 6'8" and a 5'5".
If I said you could have Judge or Altuve.
It depends if you're talking about basketball, football, or baseball.
You're starting your baseball team. You want Altuve, Judge?
Golly, that's such a great question, and I'm not going to get caught up in the now. I think I wish they played the same position and answer that, but right now it's hard to go against Altuve and what he's done and what he means to his club. And my gosh, 4 straight 200 hits, yep. Plays a position, stays healthy, plays huge, and just can't help but root for a guy like that. They're both great. And I want to say this, I hope we get to see Aaron Judge continue in the way that he's going. And I don't mean, striking out. I mean the ability for him to adjust and be a professional. This kid's doing it the right way. I love the hands of the baseball's in good hands. Let's put it that way.
Congrats on Michigan State. Sparty beating the Wolverines there.
Mother Nature helped us out again.
It's all right. You take a win, John, any way you can get it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, bud.
All right, thanks.
John Smoltz. He called the game last night, Game 5, Yankees and the Indians. He's got Game 1, ALCS, coming up Friday night on Fox Sports 1, and the World Series as well.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.